Welcome to Music in the Making. We are three high school and junior high music teachers from West Central Illinois. Each week we will talk about our experiences in the classroom, community, and personal lives too. We're no experts by any means, but any help we can provide to our audience of music friends is why we pursue this new venture. Please welcome your hosts, Lisa Hallen, Art Martinez, and Kevin Ferry.
I never would have told them to put that in there, but I think it's one of those where we say move all this stuff down there and then it gets moved and I'm like, oh my gosh, why have we moved that from there to there to there?
Pretty big.
Stop recording.
Yeah, it is. But we're already recording. Also, look.
You're going to have to edit that out.
What?
It was in my backpack for since last spring.
Sorry, Mr. Arturo.
Did you just swear?
Mr. Band, that's why she corrected herself.
You swore, and we've got it recorded?
Probably
awesome.
4 times. I have been looking. I'm like, it has to be in this office.
I'll add a bleep just because.
Do not.
Just because. give people the illusion. That's what we're doing. Okay, I think I'm gonna turn this down a little bit. She's measuring up to you.
Stop touching me with your tape measure.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Music in the Making. We're so glad to be back. Guess what, guys? It's episode 10. We did it. No more single digits. We finally made it to 10.
2 hands.
I know. It's been quite
This
the
many.
journey. This many. So we're back. We have game day today. Oh my goodness. It's gonna be cold.
Oh, it's going to be beautiful.
I mean, yes,
Fantastic.
but compared to the last game, which was 85 degrees, 100% humidity at 8 p.m.
Great day for the first game with uniforms.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be
planning.
it's gonna be a good outing for sure.
Yep.
40-degree difference between our first game and our second
Yeah,
game.
oh yeah, only 40. Yeah, it was
I
only
don't
7
actually know what the
days.
temperature
I mean,
is.
it was a lot for sure.
It was hot.
It was very hot. That whole week was hot. And then we were supposed to have a parade the other day that was supposed to be 9 degrees. It ended up being 75.
Yeah, weather
Boy.
broke nice this week because we were even talking about canceling the game on Tuesday. We were even having discussions over the weekend about
Really?
not having school on Tuesday.
Really?
Well, yeah, the initial forecast had it at 105.
That's
and
true.
then that was 2 weeks out, and then it got dropped down to 96, and then 94, and then it ended up being 82.
Yeah. But
So yes.
fall is here. Labor Day happened, and they're like, okay, it's time for fall. But that's nice. So, topic today, we thought we'd discuss our calendars and kind of just, some of the events that we have and kind of in order. It's a little bit busy, but I think also mentioning just some of the things we need to keep in mind because like many teachers, scheduling a date is not as easy as one would think because you think oh, this is a perfect date, but then you find out that something is in the way or there's student conflicts and whatnot. But so why don't we just kind of go around and just talk about our calendars. Why don't we start with Central, where it all begins for band with Miss Hallen.
Let's see. So I have my first Central concert at the end of October, and it's just a big little let's show what we've learned in the first 2 months of school. It's wonderful sounds from our 5th grade band, playing our little mini instruments, buzzing our mouthpieces, playing Hot Cross Buns debut. It's always a favorite, and then 6th grade band does a little bit. I think my first year it was October 30th, so I always think about it as a Halloween concert.
Mm-hmm.
I have a piece this year called Spooky Had a Little Lamb, and it's Mary Had a Little Lamb but minor, and at one point it goes bah instead of boo for lamb. I am so excited. But then when I was going to schedule it out, on the same day we always do it, Thursday, I think we usually do, last Thursday of October, there's a big district-wide presentation happening that week. So it's now after Halloween, which is a little sad, but don't want to conflict with big events going on in the district, obviously.
Right.
So there's that. I always look at the high school schedule for that because there's so many siblings that if there is some big production that a lot of the high schoolers will be at. I never want parents to have to like struggle because they have students both places, and just also have to be comparing for what do I need to do at the high school versus Central. And then we have our music programs that Central Band also plays on, but that is kind of taken over by Mrs. Pickrell, our general music teacher, and the admin plan that, because those are full school big events. And I just kind of say, okay, that's when it is. I will be there.
For sure. We apologize for the construction sounds if you can hear that. We honestly don't know what's happening next door. Like, I remember I was just setting up for this, and I started hearing all this clanging and banging. I'm like, is there a ghost? Because, like, I don't know what's on the other side of that wall, but it is making a lot of noise.
It was loud in here. I'm like, what's going on? So do the Central kids play at a Christmas or winter program?
Our 6th graders play at the Central General Music Program. Our 5th graders do not. They have their Halloween concert, and then we give them a couple months, and then they will play. They will do solo and ensemble. Some of them will, and then they will play at the all district concert. We used to do a May concert, but that COVID happened, so it didn't happen my first year, and it's just never come back.
That's something you'd look back into?
Not at this time.
There you go. There you go. We said on one podcast, May's busier in December.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. I mean,
Leave May alone.
Like the fact that we didn't even do a whole episode for 2 months was
Yes.
proof of that, because by the time we got to an episode, we're like, it's like, we don't have time for this. Sorry. But yeah, so busy. But I think what's kind of neat is like the kids who stay in band from the beginning and they continue, they just notice like, oh, I only have maybe like 2 more events every year or 2 or 3 more. So it's not like, so they get used to sort of like the busyness right away. But all you need to do is add them, like, say by the time they get to high school, it's like the marching band thing is probably the largest amount of events we add, because it's like at least 4 more performances guaranteed for competitions. But then like we start to do other stuff, which we'll hit in a minute. But for junior high, we take a little bit different route. So because they're trying to work on ensemble sounds.
Junior high band.
Junior high band. Junior high band. Junior high band. After that, we kind of take a different route. So we actually try to do, like, because we're trying to work the ensemble, because Lisa works with the individual lessons, working on the skills of playing, working individually, making good sounds and whatnot. By the time we get to junior high, the approach that we take is trying to work on the ensemble itself, trying to like play together and have more time to play together. Since we get to have band every single day, granted some of the kids who are in both band and choir, they don't have it every day, but to have it at least slated every single day, because they have that opportunity, they are able to work through playing more together, playing with larger sections with the 8th graders. So our real first 2 performances of doing that is actually pep band. So that was something new when I came to MR. I've heard of junior high pep bands, but I kind of always imagined that they'd be like more extracurricular, but I think making it curricular allows for like you to play concert style music / make music a little bit more lighthearted and fun, in a totally different setting, because then that sets them up for high school when they eventually do actual pep band music. And that's the kind of music that we do for marching band, for parades and things. So those are our first 2 performances, and they won't actually have anything until November. So we have all of September, all of October, and then it's like our first week of November we'll have our first boys game. Our second week we'll have our second game will be girls, and this is actually when we start to run into like the whole conflict thing. So for junior high, if there are boys that make the boys basketball team, they are required to only go to the girls basketball game because they're not playing on that one, and vice versa. But this is started the whole like, okay, if you want to take on the multiple responsibilities of being in different programs, you have to be able to start balancing and understanding what you're like when you were then supposed to be at the band thing versus the athletic thing. Because they have practices every day for sports after school, and that band, like when we are 9th hour, you are responsible to make sure you have everything ready to go and make sure you utilize that time wisely, and know that the responsibility of you being at a performance when you're not playing that's really important, and I try to make sure that they understand that, and then if the parents have questions, make sure they understand that as well. That's usually one of the first emails I get. So-and-so made basketball, and I noticed that you have a performance on that day. Are they still going to play? They're obviously excused because they're playing. So I'm not going to make them play a concert and then go, be all over the court and stuff like that. So that's, I think, when their first little taste of like knowing when they're supposed to be and because when they get to high school, that's when it starts to affect things. So that's the junior high side of things. So we go from pep band and then right into solo ensemble also, organizational contest. We also the bands also take advantage of the all district concert. And then I forgot something, obviously, because they're raising their hands. Sorry, what did I forget?
Does the junior high have a Christmas or a winter
concert?
concert?
Yeah. I always forget about the winter concert. I don't know why. I think the pep band thing throws me off.
That's the most traditional one.
Yeah, and I don't know why, because it's like I think my brain is just so like pep band mode right now, because we're trying to do like a couple of pieces that are like obviously above them right now, but that's kind of like the fun part is that like. And I'm like winter is not on my mind. Winter's on my mind for high school, not on my mind for junior high at all, because it's like they have a long way to go. Anyway, so sorry.
Now that you've completely
so
lost
now
your train
that
of thought.
I'll try that again. 2 pep band games, winter concert, come back in January, start preparing for solo and ensemble. Then during solo and ensemble time, after solo and ensemble time, we're getting ready for all district / organizational, and then we did a spring concert last year. So we do a spring concert combined with the junior high choir, and then that's junior high band. So now let's do junior high choir.
Yeah, so it's kind of similar, but junior high choir, we have a concert on the third Sunday of October. So we're preparing for that. But what I do for junior high choir in the fall is we are learning the ILMEA District 2 Junior Mixed Choir music, so that all of our students that want to can audition for District 2 choir. So I kind of killed 2 birds with 1 stone there. We're very fortunate to have a lesson teacher and accompanist down at the junior high. So those kids are working on that music all the time down there. But that fall concert this year, October 22nd, and preparing them for ILMEA auditions. So that takes care of the first quarter. Second quarter, we're working on getting our Christmas concert or winter concert ready. Along with that, at the junior high level, I auditioned a junior madrigal singers group, and so those kids they've started working now to get ready for that. And I know it seems like a long time to sing Christmas music, but when you're trying to do 3 and or 4 part a cappella music with 12, 13, and 14-year-olds, you need all the time you can get. So those are the big things that our junior high does in the fall. Junior high choir, when we turn the calendar to January, things are really slow at the beginning. January and February, we're working on organizational contest music, and for the junior high choir, that's when our conference choir festival is like at the end of February. And this year, folks, Monmouth Roseville is hosting, so music department beware. Yeah. So anyway, so we're getting several pieces ready for organizational and the Prairie Land Conference Choir Festival. When March hits, we start working on solo and ensemble stuff. We take 4 or 5 weeks to work on that. We get done with solo and ensemble. We continue with organizational, and we take our kids to organizational contest. This year, at Monmouth Roseville, every other year our junior high competes at Music in the Parks and Six Flags. So this year our junior high band and choir, the first Saturday in May, will be participating in Music in the Parks, and then we spend the rest of the day at Six Flags and ride rides and have all the yummy food. And then we end junior high with our spring concert, which we do some of our organizational music. This year we were fortunate enough to do a couple pop tunes in the spring. We talked about Pops a la Mode on a previous podcast, but we added a couple of Pops pieces for junior high this year, so they had a little fun. And then 8th graders at the very end of the year then are auditioning for madrigal singers at the high school level. So it's pretty busy, but the best way to get junior high kids through a year, keep them busy.
Mm-hmm. For real. I mean, honestly, if you have that continuous goal and like no downtime, it makes things easier for us
Yep.
too, because it's like, okay, I know that I have to have this done, this piece done, or I have to have like at least by this measure this piece done, or so yeah.
And
always look
it's
forward.
one of the things, like when, I know when several years ago we had 5 music teachers, and it was formatted a little bit differently, but it seemed like everybody could take a little bit of a breath. But then we dropped it to 4, I heard Joey Boostrom, former band director, and then Kyle Barshinger, former band director, just before Art got here. All I heard them say was, it's just like we're getting to the next thing, and I don't know when I can teach music. And sometimes it feels that way.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it very much feels like that. And at Monmouth Roseville, you're always doing something. There's always something else to prepare for. So you have to, as a teacher, figure out how I'm going to work those educational things into just not being performance-based. And it takes a little time, it takes a little getting used to, but once you do, and you take that time to teach the major triads, you teach the triads, you teach the scales, you teach solfege, you teach circle of fourths or fifths, whichever is the popular one. I don't.
Yes.
If you do those things, and you integrate those in the class, in your performance-based class, then it takes a little time, but once you get used to it, it's pretty easy. So that's junior high.
Yeah. So now for high school,
How long you got?
oh my gosh, that's so much. Well, so when you transition from junior high to high school band, you're going from, again, like you have like X amount of things, opportunities, performances, to like, now let's add some more opportunities. But I guess I feel like we always set them up pretty well, but again, being busy and just forming habits of, if I take on athletics, if I take on extracurriculars like cheerleading and things, like I know when I'm supposed to be at band and when it's okay to be at my other things too, and like to make sure that I'm always balancing those things out. But for high school, we immediately start with marching band. So everyone is in marching band for the bands, which is, nice, because it's like if you're trying to balance marching band and concert band at the same time, like it's quite a lot. So we have 4 competitions this year. We try to keep it around 4. Give us some time to get a show together and be comfortable with it, enjoy it. But then as soon as that late October hits, we're gonna try to do that Halloween thing again this year. So that's gonna be fun.
At the grade schools, right? Is that what
Yeah.
you're talking about? Yeah, I know
Yeah.
the grade school kids just love that. They think that's
I
crazy
figured
fun.
we just pull out Thriller again and just play that.
I had a request for Ghostbusters
Oh,
Okay.
from
Monster
one
Mash.
Miss Jenica, because she wants to dress up like that.
Oh, I think Martina should dress up as the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
I'm already halfway there.
I wasn't gonna say anything.
I'm like toasted, but
Wow,
That's a great marshmallow color. I'm not gonna lie.
that's the perfect s'mores color. We're gonna get canceled. We're gonna get canceled. Episode 10, we made it. Canceled.
We
Okay,
are
but I said
painting
it,
a
though.
picture for our listeners.
You did say that, right?
I did say that.
Okay,
It's okay.
well.
Because then they can also go to our brand new Facebook and see our picture on there.
Oh.
We use the our iMac picture from last year.
So just to clarify, this Halloween performance, we always have a half day around Halloween for the elementary schools to have their class parties, and kids are just going to be crazy at that time. So we take it as a what do we call it? Professional development day. So we have a half day. So on that half day, we pull the high school band kids and we do a tour of the elementary schools, our K through 2 building, our kindergarten, first grade building, our second and third grade building, and then our 4th through 6th building. And the high school band dresses up and we go and we play the fight song, we play a Halloween tune, and it's another activity for them during their Halloween parties. And
there are
so
a
much
lot of
fun.
schools, not a lot. I've heard of some schools that don't have school on Halloween. They take
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
whole day
Well,
off. They don't
That would be
do the Halloween thing. They
They
just we're not doing it. It's it's
mean-
such a distraction. The kids are
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
crazy all day long, and I think the half day's okay. And
Yeah.
you talk to grade school teachers. I think some, I won't ever say all, but some be like, yeah, we could take this day off because they don't even care. Then they get whatever 15, 20 minutes to get dressed up in their costumes, and then they have the parade for 20 minutes, and then they have the party back in their room. I mean,
Right.
it-
I mean,
know.
and last year we actually think it was on Halloween, wasn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
this year's
Because
on the
that week
27th.
we had Halloween, we had.
Track like the next
We
day.
had Three Rivers Athletic Conference,
Oh
and we
my
had
gosh.
something else. I think we might have gone to Culver Stockton, or we might have
Yeah,
gone
you
to
had
Monmouth
choir
College.
units.
We did. There were 3 things in the same day because I remember our staff was not very happy with
It's been
you
going
know
for like a week.
an Emma Ferry gone 3 days in a row
Oh,
because
yeah.
she was in band, choir, mads, whatever, and. So anyway, yeah, I think that Halloween thing we do is really, really cool. And I think it was Jeff that actually started it.
was,
Jeff
our high
asked
school
for that down at
principal.
Harding. And now he complains that we go when he's the high school principal.
That
But
is
whatever.
that is not true,
Fake
but
news.
okay.
Shout out.
Shout out.
Shout out Jeff Ewing.
Yeah. We'll have him on the podcast. He can defend himself.
All right, so after
Anyway.
Halloween,
After Halloween, we have a couple extra events. So we actually just mentioned a second ago, Three Rivers Athletic Conference, to take some select kids to a kind of honor band type thing. It's kind of like, like district festival, but it's just a little bit smaller scale. It's more like the conference area. And then we have, our IMEA auditions too around the same time. District happens like that next week, actually.
Yeah,
oh
yeah,
my gosh.
yeah.
Happens that next week. But then like as soon as marching band's over, we try to jump into a concert band immediately because we only have then like 6 weeks to be fully prepared for a concert. This year we got invited to go to WIU and play on their winter concert, so I'm super stoked for that. But that means it's like 3 days, we have to be ready earlier for our music, which is I think a good challenge.
and it's
but at
really
that
only
point-
2 because they'd already taken December 8th away from us for a testing day. So
Right.
yeah,
Yeah. So
Yeah.
and to go
Yeah.
back a little bit on
I don't know if I knew that.
yeah. December
Yeah.
8th is a testing day.
Yeah, it's
so
a
we've got to
Friday.
we now have to worry about SIP days. We have to worry about heat days. We have to worry about social emotional learning days, and now all the benchmark testing days.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the fact that we get anything done sometimes is
high school's just
Pretty
a
cool.
happening place for
oh,
sure.
I tell you.
I mean,
Sorry.
no, it's okay. I'll say the junior high definitely has like, again, a glimpse of some of those things to come. And then when we get to the high school level, is like there's just so many more things that the kids have to just be worried about, or not, which I shouldn't say worried about, but just be aware of, and we have to make sure that they are aware of. So like the benchmarking thing, we didn't even mention about for next week. So we'll have to make sure they know like that rehearsal on Monday is like super important because you're not gonna have rehearsal the next morning, and we have a competition 3 days later. So,
Yeah, well-
anyway, so I digress. So after the Three Rivers, we prepare for a winter concert in December, and then Lisa and I go to Midwest. Woo, that's always fun. But then once we come back from January, we're already in solo and ensemble mode. We even try to like be in solo ensemble mode at the same time as we're getting concert band because we need to get our numbers figured out for like who wants to do a solo, who wants to do ensemble, who's doing the choirs, who's doing this, who's doing that. So it doesn't stop for us. It really is just like one dovetails into the other, into the next thing. After solo and ensemble, we have all district for bands. In between, still trying to get ready for organizational. So really 2 events happening at the same time, basically. But then we have our pop solo mode, which we have mentioned before on a previous episode. So, which is just fun, recognizing students and all our achievements of the year, and tears because it's like it's my last band concert ever as a senior. Anyway, high school choir.
Well, I think you forgot several things that you do in your
Maybe. I don't know. Again, I
I
try to
just-
worry.
program.
I'm
While December, January, and February is going on with all the Christmas concerts and solo ensemble and IMEA and all this stuff, there's a little thing that you guys do called pep band.
Oh, yeah.
There's
14
pep band.
performances.
There's pep band in there. And then after pop solo mode, we have a tradition here where our band goes to Roseville and marches in the Memorial Day parade.
That's in May, though. I guess that's
after
Pops.
Pops.
Yeah, that's true.
And
Also-
then this year,
That's
for the
also right
first
after.
time,
Oh.
in recorded history. I'm sure it's happened before, so forgive me, previous band directors from way back, but this year, for the first time, our band is going to perform at graduation.
Oh yeah, looking
So I'm
forward to
pretty
that
stoked
too.
about that.
Yeah, when I found out late last year that we didn't do that, I mean, I'm sure it's not an uncommon thing, but it's definitely like I had never seen it done before.
Well, and at
especially-
Monmouth Roseville, our band should be at graduation.
Oh yeah, it's
Our
important.
band should absolutely be at graduation.
Well, I think it's
and
important.
the fact that it's never happened just
Right.
always just baffled me. How come our band is not playing Pomp and Circumstance? How come our band doesn't have a number that the seniors want to play?
Yeah.
You know, so
So-
you were gonna say, I'm sorry, Miss Allen,
No,
that
you
I
are-
cut you off.
So
You are totally okay, Mr. Ferry. I just want to also point out that by the first day of school, our marching band had 2 performances already. This year we performed in the Roseville, which is obviously half of Monmouth Roseville, the 175th anniversary parade. So that happened in August in the midst of our band camps. And we always both band and choir sings on the first day to welcome all the teachers back, the Teacher Institute Day. So on that first day of school, like the high school freshmen have 2 high school performances under their belt, which I think is pretty cool.
Lisa knows well that like once we're done with a performance, I just don't think about it anymore. I'm too busy thinking about the next thing that has
Yep.
to happen. So my apologies for missing some
No,
stuff
you're
because it's
good.
like
It's all
I'm
good.
because
But
again,
I
but again,
yeah,
like you're so
it's-
busy. 'Cause,
It's
like,
important that if people are listening, like what is everybody what are we doing, and is their program, you know, is there an idea that we have or a thing that we do that somebody that's listening might want to do? Oh, that's a great idea. I think I should start doing that. Or, oh my God, they do way too much. And then they send us an email and say, I think you guys need to cut some stuff. So I would like to go 2 different routes here. I'm going to start with just general high school.
Sure.
And so when we get back in the fall, you know, for quite what?
General High School,
If you're,
saluting
Oh, okay.
How I Met Your Mother.
yeah.
Radio, not TV. Yet. We're not video yet.
Yes.
We're not
working
not
on
video
it.
yet.
We're gonna work on it. We're gonna
Go
Anyway,
live on Instagram right now.
let's not do that.
mid
Mid show,
podcast.
mid pod. So we have 4 hours of choir, but 3 different choirs basically, and the Mixed Mads kids. And I'll talk about madrigal singers. I'll go through a year with choir and then the year with Mads because they're 2 completely different schedules. So our choirs are all preparing for the fall concert on October 22nd, preparing for IMEA, but our treble Mads, I'll get to that anyway. So that's the September, October, getting us ready for that concert, getting ready for IMEA auditions, and kind of like the junior high, you know, as soon as that's done, we are getting prepared for the Christmas concert or winter concert. I will tell you, one of the things Art and Lisa were talking a little bit about solo and ensemble preparation and how they do that. I honestly take the week after, and not the whole week, but a couple of days, and after the fall concert, and that's when I ask who's taking a 2 solo and ensemble contest. And I get all of those names compiled. I make up the duets for solo and ensemble, and that way, throughout the next, November and December, I'm in my free time. I'm looking for music. I'm putting pieces together. We're photocopying music. We're getting recordings down. We're getting everything to the kids so they have that in their hands before they leave for Christmas break. So I think it's important enough to take a day or 2 to get those signups, get your ensembles, get your duets, get your choirs all in order, so that you're organized if you want to do solo and ensemble in a big way when you come back. After the Christmas concert, immediately we will start working on organizational stuff the last couple of weeks of December. We'll sight read it, we'll look through it, we'll work on some stuff, and if you do it right, you can have some familiarity with a piece before you hit Christmas break. So you're not trying to teach 3 songs in 2 months or whatever the case may be. So when we get back from January on the choir side, we are working very hard on organizational music for the month of January. The other thing that we're doing on the choir side at that time is getting kids ready for musical auditions. Woo! Yeah, this year we're doing Once Upon a Mattress. So we're helping kids with that. We have musical auditions. Usually starting at the end of January, we start after school musical rehearsals. So we're throwing that in there too. When we get back from IMEC, then we start solo and ensemble, and we've talked about it in a previous episode. Vocally, we take 5 weeks. Those 5 weeks, and we have accompanists come in who are former music teachers. They come in and work with the kids for 5 weeks. We have solo and ensemble contest. 2 weeks after the solo and ensemble contest is our musical. So it's really, really busy right there. I forgot to mention back in November, we do the Three Rivers Athletic Conference thing as well. I know we're all excited for that. So once the musical is over, we are hitting the ground running for organizational contests, which happens about mid to, second, third week of April, depending on Easter. When we're done with that, then we get ready for Pops All Mode. We get about 3 weeks to get ready for Pops All Mode. And then the choir sings the national, or Mads sings the national anthem, and then choir and seniors sing at graduation, along with madrigal auditions in May. So our madrigal singers, on the other hand, they get back. I think our kids have already sang, the mixed Mads have already sang the national anthem at 3 or 4 different occasions. They did this morning at the Farm Bureau breakfast. We've said it before. Mr. Martinez said the most important song that the band will ever play is Go Titans Go, our school song. To me, the most important song that our kids will ever sing is the national anthem. And I encourage you, choir directors out there, teach your kids. It doesn't have to be the world's greatest national anthem. We use, for mixed Mads, we use the Russell Robinson SATB. It's not difficult, but get them out singing the anthem at sporting events. So our treble Mads, they sing the national anthem all fall long at home volleyball games. They had one last night. I think this is their 3rd or 4th one. And then all semester long, we are working towards our madrigal dinner, which is the first weekend in December. So not only are they doing volleyball games and basketball games, they're getting ready for this dinner. And in November, starting the week before Thanksgiving, we take our kids to churches. And last year, we had 2 churches every Sunday for 4 weeks. So we saw 8 churches. I'm going to tell you what, if your school allows it, this is one of the biggest moneymakers we have. We go to churches and we ask for free will donations. And I kid you not, I think we probably made $1,500. So, about $400 a Sunday going to these churches. So that's a huge fundraiser. And then, as I said, the kids will be singing at basketball games. This year we were very fortunate enough to be singing at IMEC. So our mixed Mads have to get ready for that as well, which, by the way, we have our first of our 6 songs pitched through, and they love it, and they're doing great. So I'm really excited about that.
Awesome.
That in the first week of September, we've got one of them down, and we've only got 5 more to go.
So how is that changing, this additional January concert? How is that changing your life, your scheduling this year?
It's making it a little more crazy because, we have X amount of songs, 3 or 4 songs that we do at the fall concert. We have 14 songs that we get ready for the madrigal dinner, 16 songs that we get ready for the madrigal dinner. Add another song to the Christmas concert because we'll sing something that we did for the madrigal dinner, and then we'll do another piece so that they're not just working on the same stuff over and over again. But about once a month, I have to add another song that we're not used to doing. So I'm pretty excited about the fact that we're. And I started with the easiest one, and that's kind of my philosophy. Start with the easier stuff and build yourself up to the harder stuff. I know some people have the philosophy of we need to go with the hardest music we can first so we have the longest to work on it. I've always thought, get the easy one out of the way, and you can start developing your sound a little bit more. So, and increase the difficulty. I know you don't have as much time, but hopefully by the time you put those difficult songs together, they're better musicians. They're they're better rehearsed, and so and our madrigal singers over the second semester typically work very hard towards organizational and solo and ensemble, but we also a couple years ago started with jazz. So we are not only doing concert music, we're into vocal jazz a little bit, and we have a men's choir, and so I mean we're very, very busy, but it's a lot of fun, and I got to be honest with you, I've had an absolute blast so far. Even with the student teacher wasn't here today, she was sick. And like this morning, I'm like, oh man, I've got to teach all day. And the day flew. Like I had a blast today. The kids are learning. They're getting better and better every day. So I'm really excited, and I think we're going to have a pretty good year.
It is, for sure. I'm looking forward to it. And to touch just really quick, because you mentioned about building on pieces, I think definitely one of the episodes we talked about we do in the future is like our favoreit pieces, but
I think
what they teach.
How
and
we
like,
select repertoire and why we...
Yep.
Or shout out
Yeah,
James Stegall, repertoire. for all you old school Western guys and
next.
gals,
James
repertoire.
Stegall,
Repertoire.
Yes.
Literature.
Yeah.
Literature and repertoire. And he did that with his mouth. Toi.
Yes, he did.
Toi.
He did.
Do you want me to record that for Instagram, just so they have a visual?
A visual of my impression of James Stegall
Well,
saying repertoire.
You just told me it's radio, not TV.
Well,
But until we get TV, and until we get our podcasting.
so sorry, side note, and probably a conversation that needs to happen off air, but Lindsay went downstairs and she, because we had to clean the auditorium, and said something about we need to make that office into our podcast room, and she's like, there's too much band stuff in that room
About
for it to be the
that.
podcast room. So I thought, holy cow, that's a little crazy, but
I'm trying.
yeah, so we're hoping to have a permanent studio with the mic stands and the
gosh.
camera, and hey,
I think
go big or go
I
home,
think
Miss
we
Howland.
need some more filing cabinets for band music in there. We're starting to get tight.
In the band library?
No,
That's my choir library. My
Well,
office is the
there's
choir
like
library.
2 empty walls in there. So
No. Clean out some of your percussion stuff that you don't use. Or move art out of your office and
I
put
think
stuff in
we're
there.
gonna loft our office. and,
Oh, I think that's a great idea. If they don't put that ceiling back in,
exactly.
tell them not to.
I know.
Yeah, and you
That'd
could do
be
a little.
epic.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some sort of code violation there.
Or we talked about doing like the libraries that the books go all the way up, and there's like a
The little ladder that slides.
Yeah, and then we could put our band library up top. I'm sure that wouldn't be inconvenient at all.
I don't know what that was on his computer, and he left. Like Art left.
All three
He's
of
on-
us
he's
have
on the
gotten
phone.
calls during this podcast.
Yeah.
But your guys' were from people who care about you. Mine was from an 800 number.
Well, I mean, so after school, my kid calls me and says, somebody stole my cat. And they know who it was and who did it and when they did it and where they did it. And so I'm dealing with
Yeah.
her, and then I'm dealing with the police, and I'm dealing with Wire, and dealing with all this stuff. Like,
But you prioritized your podcast listeners, which I think is really beautiful.
no, I had to step away
You're
for a
here.
minute.
No, you're here. You're doing this.
I know.
If someone stole my cat, I would be not.
I know,
here.
anyway, yeah, so it's Friday. It's Friday, so we should be able to go home and relax for a minute, and then
Game
Game
day.
day.
Game day, baby.
game day.
All right. Well,
Type
thank
Nation.
you. Thank you again for another great episode, guys. Appreciate it. Next week we'll.
We appreciate you coming back.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm Mr. Popular, getting phone calls from people. So important people. Mr. Ewing, questions about pregame stuff. So
Oh my Lord.
all good.
We have a whole new pregame tonight, so
Yes, we
it's
do.
the kids had to practice it last night.
Yeah, they had to practice.
Whatever.
So we just go to tunnels.
Hey,
now.
if you have any questions or comments, because there are no concerns,
Never.
or if you want to hear more from us individually about how we structure our schedule, our curriculum, our program, whatever, email us at
musicinthemakingpod@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram now.
At Music in the Making Pod.
Yeah. We're also now on YouTube. Music in the Making Podcast YouTube, where if you're one of those people who just like, I can't listen to Spotify or all these other places at work, no problem. We're uploading them to
But if
YouTube.
you're searching it, put it in quotes. Because I tried to search Music in the Making and I got 8 billion how to make music. So put it in quotes, okay? That old Google trick, quotation mark, Music in the Making Pod, end quotation marks, and then you'll find us.
Okay.
Because it took me a minute to find us. Lindsay and I'm like, where is this thing? And we finally found it. So
Ooh, that's a good point. I wonder if there's like a thing where it's like if we add to our channel saying like we're a podcast, or if there's like a category that like if you filter, but that's actually a pretty good idea. I never would have thought of that. Great job, Lindsay. Nailed it.
I said Lindsay and I were trying to find it. It was my idea to do the quotes. That's an old
was
Google
trying to
trick.
find it.
Man, I don't.
And on that note,
You're